What's up, guys? Doug Polk here. We just landed in Dallas and we're going to be driving to Durant, Oklahoma. Head over to the Choctaw Casino, planned poker night in America. Just wanted to check in. I'll see you guys. This will be a couple hours. I'll see you there.
It's my salt and pepper shaker.
Oh man, it's pretty cool. What do you think, Binks? So I just put my first vlog out today, and you know, I've been looking at a lot of the comments and reading what you guys had to say, and there's one thing that I just want to talk about right out of the gate. There's something that I don't really understand about why, for some reason, a lot of you guys think that like I have beef with the vloggers or something. You know, for starters, I've said that it's a great form of content and that I thought Andrew Neme's vlog is the best poker vlog out there, but I've never said anything bad about the people that want to do it. The only thing I did was I tweeted asking if what they were doing was allowed or not. And somehow that's kind of transpired into this whole like swirling thing. But look guys, it's a great format. I'm planning on doing some of these. I'm going to keep with the poker hands and the news and everything, but this is going to work its way into the mix. Another question that seems to constantly come up is, you know, is it Doug versus Andrew or versus Trooper, or like whose vlog's on top, like what's going on? And it really just isn't like that on YouTube. The more people that come onto the platform, the more everyone can grow, and really it's a good thing for everybody involved. So I don't think that we should look at it like that. I think we should look at it like, let's put good videos out, bring people into the community, and take it from there. And don't think that you have to pick one, draw a line in the sand, and just spend only your time on YouTube watching that person. Anyway, so currently we are at National Car Rental, going to be renting a car for the trip to Durant. You know, I thought we were going to have multiple bags, so I rented a bigger car, but we only brought one bag. Caitlin packed light, so we're seeing if they have anything a little more convertible-y. We'll see what happens. This looks a little more like what we're looking for. All right, let's head to Durant. All right, so we got into Oklahoma last night, rested up for today's stream on Poker Night in America. We've played the first half of the session. What's up, man? How's it going? Played the first half of the session. We're down like 7,000 or 8,000, and I guess I got like at least one big hand I can talk about. I'll come back with some more hands once we complete the session, but I'm gonna sit down. Let's talk about this hand I played. Playing 25-50. And Kyle Bowker raises it up under the gun +1, and we're 7-handed, so like low jack with you know, whatever he has. Action folds to me in the small blind. He makes 200. I make it 700. Now here's the thing. I think he's on approximately 35K or so, something in that range, and I cover. So we're very deep for 25-50. I 3-bet to 700 in the small blind. Big blind folds, back over to him, and he calls. The flop comes 7-6-3 with 3 diamonds. I have pocket nines with the 9 of diamonds. So I flop an overpair and a flush draw. Now, a lot of people might want to bet here, but I like to have some check calls with hands like nines because that way, you know, if they take a stab, obviously I have a great hand to call with. You have some immediate showdown value, some backdoor playability, and also if I bet the flop with nines and I get raised, I'm not going to be in a very happy spot. So I go ahead and go for the check, and he bets pretty big, about 1,100 into 1,400. Now, this size is definitely, you know, there is a difference here on the flop, whether you face like a half pot bet or like something more like this, where it's 75% pot-ish. You know, it's definitely representing a little bit of a stronger range. I'm anticipating facing more barrels, but at the same time, pocket nine is a very strong hand on this board. And we're going to have other hands we're going to want to give up with, like overcards without a diamond, that kind of stuff. So, anyway, I check call. The turn is a total brick. It is like an offsuit deuce. I check again, and now he fires 3,800, which, you know, slight overbet, I believe. All of the math, I just have to remember this hand. So 3,500 and he fires 3,800. So the question is now, you know, I can fold a lot of hands for sure. It's a very large bet. Nines with the diamond, though, you know, having the pair or having the flush draw, probably a hand that's a little too strong to let go. So I go ahead and call. If I had a hand like ace queen with the queen diamonds, I'd definitely fold. If I had the ace diamonds, it'd be really close between both options. But anyway, I go ahead and call with nines, planning on probably calling down on most runouts if we face like a normal size bet. You know, you can maybe argue to fold nines and call with some higher pairs, which should be a pretty 2 minutes. We're about to get back in the action here, guys, but I want to quickly get this hand out of the way. Anyways, the river comes a 6 pairing the board. You know, reasonable river, really, all things considered. Higher flush draws don't get there. Less likely he has a hand like a set or 7-6 suited now. And I check and he jams. So 2.5, 3x pot jam. And, you know, the thing about nines there, you know, obviously we're infinitely deep, so you can just fold nines. I will trap some nut flushes. I'd probably trap a few hands like 7 or 7-6 suited. And then after that, you're probably going to have to call some overpairs, guys. I know this is a spot that sucks because, you know, when you have an overpair, you don't want to mainly call because if you do that, you're going to get stacked a ton because you have a lot of overpairs. But the thing is, if you never call an overpair, you're just not going to call enough at the time. Remember, when you overbets here, I can mainly fold, but I still got to work some calls in. Here's the thing. I think aces and kings with a diamond is much stronger than nines because I want him to have a hand like 10-9 suited or 9-8 suited. Also, I don't block as many flush draws with a hand like as many flushes with a hand like nines. So I ultimately folded, hoping to not get shown the bluff, and he had the king 10 for the second nut flush. So feel pretty reasonable, feel pretty good about it. About to hop back into the game, guys. We'll do some review after.
Anyone want to spot me 2K until I get the wire? I'll give them 2 watches worth 1,200.
What's up, buddy?
We're gonna make this fair. You guys will give me 1,800. I'm gonna give you 1,800 worth of shit. I'll give you 3,000.
No.
Doesn't matter.
2 watches. I don't want my passport. Please take it.
I don't think it's legal to buy passports from people, bro.
Yeah.
We just wrapped up the session. I ended up losing about 16,000. I thought I lost 18,000, and I got to the cage, and they're counting out the chips. Like, all right, how do you want your money? And they said the number, and I was like, wait. And you know, I casually miscounted by a couple thousand. Sweet win here at Choctaw Casino. So yeah, I mean, like, look, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, right? Last time Poker Night America, I think I had like, you know, one of the best days ever for those stakes. I think I won like 76K. But today's one of the days you lose. You know, I lost, I think it's something around 16,000, and that's just like the luck of the draw. I thought I played pretty good. You know, there was one hand where I ace queen suited. Actually, let's go ahead and jump in and talk about a couple quick hands here. So the first, this is actually, yeah. All right, let's talk about ace queen suited first. We'll talk about at least 1 or 2 other cool hands as well. So ace queen suited, we're straddled up to $100, and Kyle Bowker opens in, I believe, the hijack. We get a call from the button, and the action is on me in, I want to say the normal big blind, but I might have been the straddle. I think I was normal big blind. Maybe I was small blind. I'm in one of the blinds, guys. You can bear with me. Let's call it the big blind. Okay, so open to 400, call 400 on the button, and I 3-bet to something around 1,600, 1,700. And again, like, I couldn't write any of these down. I couldn't have my phone at the table, so I'm going off memory, but I should be relatively good with this. I think it was 1650 actually. So I make it 1650. Action's back over to Kyle, and he thinks about, and he's on a 15K stack, and he decides to make it 5,000, which is a really weird situation because, for starters, making it 5K on a 10K stack doesn't really make much sense to me to do with anything, because when you make it 5K, you're basically committing that you're not going to be. Yeah, I'll be. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be right over. That's perfect. All right, I'll be right over. Doing some player interviews. Anyway, so he makes a 5K, and here's the thing: like, that bet size to me doesn't really make a lot of sense because he's committed now, right? He's gonna have to call a jam. But if you do that, you can't really bluff. I mean, you could maybe 4-bet some light hands, like maybe ace queen or 10s or 9s, giving yourself the odds to call. But your ability to like 4-bet fold is like not really there, because if they jam, even if you had a bluff, like let's say you had ace jack or ace 10 suited or something, Now you have to fold if they jam. So he makes it 5K, and I mean, look, this is a really shitty spot. I'm not saying that I think that it's like a slam dunk. Yeah, let's rip it in. I guess my main thought process is this: if I'm gonna fold ace queen suited in that spot after 3-betting, the problem becomes I'm gonna have these suited connectors. I'm gonna have all these other hands I want to 3-bet with, some offsuit Broadway, all this stuff, right? If I'm gonna fold one of the best hands I could have, other than obviously like tens or jacks plus, I'm getting a beer apparently, even though I don't drink beer.
Hi guys.
We're doing something for the vlog here tomorrow.
Okay.
Steve,
well,
how do you feel? How do you feel the game went today?
This woman kicked my ass. Thankfully, everyone else sucked.
She opened up a fucking can on you.
Yeah,
a can. How many times did you 3-bet him in a row?
Six out of 7. She let one go through.
You know what? It's almost like you're opening up garbage.
I did open up Jack 2 soft and then 4-bet it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I was just.
Did it get through?
That was the one. That was the
hand.
hand.
And I offered him the money back. I offered him his 4-bet
that was actually a
back.
really sick hand.
3-bet me again, I dare you.
What the fuck is this?
350 now.
That was black.
Raise.
3 raised to 1650.
I just kind of saw one of your cards there.
You did?
It was close. You got to be careful when looking at your hand.
Did you, or because I
I'm
can't continue?
I'm saying like.
What'd you say?
What'd you see? Just
I
tell
didn't.
us. Be fair.
I think an ace.
You shouldn't
He's
really
obviously
say. 'Cause
handling
now,
Shaun's
this is
angle.
bad. Now it's a really bad spot. He actually shouldn't have said that.
color?
Well, I mean, like the way you pulled it up, like it went really quickly, and it didn't look like paint to me, and it looked like a no spot.
So really, you had no idea.
Could be a 4 though, right?
Like you like flicked it up
He's
really
trying
quickly.
to be.
I'm not trying to
Can
end it.
Can I
Take a
take
shot.
my bet back?
I'll give you back your small blind.
No, I want my bet back.
You looked at your hand like that when I'm sitting here, and I'm like.
Could be a 4 though.
Shaun, you angled that one. You
I'm
got
not like
He's
she
trolling.
have
I'm
no
gonna show you my
fucking
hand.
idea.
Can I
He's
take my
trolling
bet
you,
back?
Sean.
it. No, I'm not. I think.
I take
I
my
think
Can't
you should
possibly
give her-
think that was an angle.
Huh?
Can I take
course
my
it is.
350 back?
Just play the hand. Come on.
So I actually tuned in
No,
like.
Shaun and I go way back. Like he knows that was a legitimate offer. Like, and I had a top like fucking 10 hand. Like I just would have been like.
So what exactly happened? Because I tuned in kind of late, and like.
He said he saw one of my cards.
I said it seemed likely I
which
saw
is
one
like
of your cards.
huge in position. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like
How deep
willing
we are,
to
yeah.
like just.
So you 4-bet.
I 4-bet and then she like
with
peeled
Jack
back her.
deuce off.
Yeah.
Standard.
I was just over it. She made it really small, and the last time she hit was Jack 10.
Well, no, because
I was
he
just
goes,
so tilted.
He
What
opened,
did you have?
and this was the
I
7th
said,
time,
have
and he
fun.
goes, "I dare you to 3-bet me,"
and
and
so
I
she
just threw out
3-bets.
chips.
Yeah. And I was like, fuck this. I'm just going
See,
for it.
And then,
What did
and
you
then,
have that hand, Sean?
Jack 2 off.
So Sean
Yeah.
saw an
I mean,
ace,
it's a cool.
and then told
wouldn't
her
give you your money
he
back.
thought I saw an
Button
ace,
versus
wouldn't give you your
and then she just ripped 5-bet it anyway and went with ace king. Or well, I mean,
Yeah.
essentially was going with it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. You know, I was over it.
I was going with my hand in that spot
Yeah,
after I 3-bet
we
him
know.
7 times in a row. Yeah.
Yeah.
We know.
Well,
we
I
know.
didn't go. I like wasn't excited to like 3-bet, 4-bet you with like ace king or whatever.
Yeah, but he
we're
plays
super
better
deep.
post flop than I do. Because
No, I actually would be really excited for you with ace king. I was actually just telling them about the ace queen hand where I got stacked. So I was just. What do you think about that, by the way, the ace queen?
Listen, Kyle's like so call-y pre that I actually think his 4-bet is only value.
I mean, when he goes 5K
I actually
with
completely agree
with his
that,
stack.
'cause
when he has
in
10K
position,
behind.
in position
Look,
though.
don't get me wrong. Like,
I know Kyle's game.
I was
think
not.
out
play a
of
lot of
position you're correct, but in position he's just like willing to take flops.
Yeah,
he's
he's not doing that with any he's not gonna see
he-
blockers
I
and like
guess-
king
I
jack
guess-
off. He's just gonna call with those. He calls
Yeah,
with
yeah.
hands that you would never call.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
told
yeah.
Cantu like we were talking about. I don't think it's like egregious. I just think
Yeah.
like.
Well,
I just
so
know
here's-
he's like likes position and keeping stacks behind, even like putting a lot of money in pre. Like he said, told me earlier that
Right.
one hand he was gonna put. We're 35K deep. He's putting in 2K on the button in position with any hand. And he's willing to put in 400.
I guess here's what my thought process was: is like, you know, I'm usually pretty aggressive, like out of position in that spot, and so like if I'm gonna 3-bet a bunch of hands, like suited connectors, like some offsuit broadways, and some like mid pairs or whatever, and then I'm gonna fold like some of the strongest. I mean, obviously gonna have ace king, and I can have like tens or jacks plus, but I'm gonna fold like ace queen suited, which after that is my
No,
my
I
next
understand,
best
like,
hand.
it's
the
too-
problem for me is gonna be like I just 3-bet a lot in that
why
spot
not just
pre-flop,
call?
you know?
I'm surprised you because he made it so big
Because ace queen suited is a really like.
with the one pot.
Oh, you mean
don't
call
like
the
it.
4-bet?
Yeah.
The problem with calling the 4-bet is you're gonna get knocked out of the pot in the flop so much, and then you're not gonna realize your equity by hitting an ace or a queen.
So but
Like putting 5K in and then leaving 10K behind, have a 30 or stack in. I'm not.
I mean, I think I would consider it. I don't know if I love in that spot, but I don't think you even consider it. I think you just thought it was either 5-bet it or fold.
Yeah, I thought so because it was so big. All right, cliff notes, guys. I was just telling you then, but I did
Oh, sorry.
jam ace queen suited, and ran to ace king, and you know what? The worst thing is I didn't get there, so that's how you know it's bad.
Yeah.
If I had gotten there and hit a queen, it would have been a different story.
No, you would have been a genius.
Yeah, like, great jam.
Trapped him. Trapped him good.
Great jam.
Amazing.
Great jam.
Amazing session.
So are you playing any other days this weekend?
No, I think I gotta go home. We got a birthday party. You know, family shit. That's what
Family
I am.
shit.
Shaun the family man Deeb.
No.
Oh,
It's Shaun. I have a family.
No,
Deeb.
it's Shaun. I play for my family. There's a difference.
I mean, there's a lot of different families for me. to
Whenever
take care of.
you get like $50 off something, it's like for the kids, you know. It's the diaper money.
I mean, every little bit counts.
Got
you
me
know?
for the
It's
extra
how you stay rich.
75 off my staff.
It's how, guys, for the viewers, it's how you stay rich. Just ask Shaun.
Don't. Every little bit counts.
Every little bit counts. All right, we'll do a couple more hands in a little bit. Okay, so we got a lot of cowboys up in here. Got a lot of cowboys. Anyway, so hopefully you guys can hear me. I had another hand where I opened up with ace 9 of diamonds in the hijack to $300. Fuck, this is not gonna work. It's too loud. Old people like me, we don't like the loud music. So I went upstairs so I could talk about a couple of poker hand histories from the show today. Now, I want a little leniency on the specifics because not allowed to have my phone at the table, as I said earlier, so we're going off best I can remember, but they should still be relatively accurate. All right, so the hand I want to talk about next was ace 9 of diamonds. I opened it up in the cutoff, but we are playing with 3 blinds. We have small blind, big blind, and straddle. So I opened up ace 9 suited, and it folds to the big blind, whose name is Ite. That's someone I met today. And she calls in the big blind. So the flop comes queen, jack, 8 with 2 diamonds. And she checks over to me. So sometimes I don't mind mixing in some hands like this in my check back range because it plays well, against bets on many different streets. And that way I can have some very strong hands when I check back. But when I have the gutter as well as the overcard plus the nut flush draw, I do feel like if I'm not betting some of these hands, or this hand specifically, then my bet range suffers some, and it definitely just makes more money as a bet. You're going to get to put some serious pressure on a hand like a jack or an 8, or some gutters or some other ace highs or whatever. So I go ahead and I fire about 400 on the flop. Sorry, I raise it up to 300 pre-flop, get a call in the big blind. So the pot is around 675 on the flop. Queen, jack, 8, 2 diamonds. Checking the big blind, I bet 425, and she calls. So, the pot is something around 1,500 now, and we take a turn. The turn is just a low brick. It's an offsuit deuce. So nothing changes, and she checks over to me again. Now, this is a spot where, I've gotten kind of back and forth between some different strategies, but I really think that I don't mind going with an overbet here because I think a lot of her very strong hands on the flop are probably going to raise. I think queen, jack, probably going to raise flop. Set of 8's probably going to raise flop. 10-9, likely going to raise the flop. So I do think that her range is a bit more capped now, which is one reason that I like using a large size. And then the other reason I like it is because, you're going to force hands like an 8 or a jack to probably have to fold unless they have some other things going along with them. So you get them, you get the big blind off, or the straddle off a lot of other hands that are very strong, or that have you beat aren't very strong. So you put a lot of pressure on middling hands, is what I'm trying to say here. And then also when you do get a call, because you're probably not going to get raised here. I think that most hands that would run a raise probably will raise flop or trap until the river. So when you do get a call, your hand plays pretty nicely. If the river is a 10, you're going to have a very safe value bet, and if it's a diamond, you have the nuts. So, all those factors combined, I like it. Another thing to think about here, too, is that when you have the ace of diamonds, they now can no longer have, I show you the TV's on, but they now can no longer have, the nut flush draw. So that's also another important factor because that's a hand that would certainly call such a large turn bet. And when you have it, they don't have that hand themselves. So I overbet the turn. Probably planning on shutting down the river. I think about 2,100 on the turn. But, tripling off with maybe some hands more like king 10 or king 9. Maybe a hand even like 10-7 if I decide to bet the turn with that. But not really looking to go 3 here with a hand like ace 9 of diamonds. So she calls kind of on the quicker side, which, is interesting to me. I feel like when you overbet and you get somewhat of a quick call, it's it's kind of interesting just because it says a lot about their hand. I think it kind of says that they have to call this bet. When I face an overbet and I have like a more middling hand, or when people are in that spot, usually they want to at least think about it with most of their hands. When you get a quick call, it's interesting to me for sure. Not sure exactly what it means. I'm not a live read pro like some of you guys out there. But anyway, so she calls, and the river is an ace, and she checks, and I check back without really hesitating, because here's the thing. Yeah, an ace is going to beat her if she has king queen or queen 10 or queen 9, or maybe a hand like a jack, maybe pair plus flush draw. But if I bet, she has to call. I have to beat over half of her calls. And she can have a hand like king 10, maybe. But she can also have some 2 pairs that were scared to raise somewhere like queen 8 or jack 8. She could have a hand like ace queen, ace jack maybe. And then maybe king 10 as well. So what hands are really going to call you that you bet? Maybe king queen and queen 10, sure, but that's not really enough hands all in all. That's not going to be enough hands to make it so that you can value bet safely on the river there with ace 9. So I check it back, and she had kings. So pretty solid run out for me. Obviously getting to win that one. I think pretty clear through that pre-flop for her, but what are you going to do? So I managed to take that one down. So I want to talk about a couple things that aren't hands before we go. And the first subject I want to talk about is just like when you're at the table and you're losing, because it's really easy to like put on a smile and be happy and joke around when you're winning. But when you're losing, that's also like a very different environment. And one thing that I always make sure to focus on a little bit is that, everything I have in my life is from poker, and I'm very thankful for that. So when I get to play in a game and, I know it's a good game and you lose, that's just like the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And like complaining about it or getting mad or like not being part of the table because of it it's just not a very mature thing to do. Sometimes you got to realize that it's a game that involves a ton of luck, right? Skill gets them in the long run, but day to day, whatevs can happen, guys. Whatevs can happen. So you don't want to get too hung up on what happened today. Play your best poker, be respectful, and understand that like if you're the better player, you'll get them in the long run. So there's no need to get upset about it. The final thing I want to talk about today, we had some serious characters in the lineup. We had the hashtag King, who was in the mix and really getting like just downright out of line at some points. There's some elements of like what he's doing that are like good to just like, stir up some whatever and like basically get people interested in what's going on. But, there's a line, man, and like attacking people's like families and some of the sexual harassment comments, and I don't know, like just repeatedly calling someone a bitch at the table. Like, I think that like it's okay to like needle people, and like it's okay. It's great to make fun of people. You can make fun of me if it's funny, whatever, or make fun of whoever. That's like part of like the dynamic of poker. But like when it just turns into just like you're attacking someone, that's just not like a cool place to be. So I really didn't like that. I saw a little bit of that at the bike. Definitely did not like that here. It's tough to say. Like, maybe he means well. I'm not really sure. I think he's definitely trying to just like make a name for himself at kind of like any cost. And look, like I get it. Like I'm in the like video, like putting yourself out there game. I understand you want like people to listen to you. You want your voice to be heard. And sometimes that means, doing things or being involved in controversial issues. You can't just always just like be like, everyone's awesome, we're all great, like let's hug each other, So you can't always do that. I get that. But there's also a point where it's like, man, you're just like being kind of mean and like not realistic. Like he kept saying like, all right, Doug, let's play heads up for $1 million. And I'm like, he said, let's play heads up. I started, let's play heads up for $1 million. He says, okay, booked, let's do it. I think we even shook. It was on the stream. Maybe we shook hands. I don't remember. And I was like, okay, let's escrow some money, because like if you're gonna say that, it's easy to just to like say like, all right, let's play for $1 million, and then, never put up the money. Let's have an escrow, and if you don't put up the escrow, then it's forfeit. But he's like, how do we put up the whole $1 million? And it's just like, that's not realistic, because what am I supposed to do? Go send $1 million to somebody, and then if he doesn't send, I'm just waiting while they have $1 million of my dollars. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you put up an escrow and you show up with $1 million at the event. You don't show up with $1 million, you forfeit the escrow. And he was just kind of like yelling over me whenever I would say that. And it's like, man, like, you keep saying, like, you're scared of me. You're scared of me. It's like, dude, I'm not scared of you. I've played heads-up gnome in a long time. Spent years as the best player in the world. Am I the best player still? Probably not. There's a lot of other great players out there and I haven't been studying. But I'm still one of the best heads-up players in the world. And for someone to just come along and be like, oh man, you're like too scared to play me. It's just crazy. Like, that's just crazy talk. So I think he needs to reel in some of that stuff. I think that there was some over the line things said about Shaun Deeb's wife and Shaun Deeb in general. But yeah, man, sometimes guys, you just have to deal with that at the table. And then the other thing at the table that happened was the whole Deeb Cantu thing. A lot of back and forth between Deeb and Cantu about, like, you know, if Cantu owes people money or not. And I don't really have like all the details on that, so I don't want to get into it. All I'm going to say is that when it comes to like money stuff, like, I'm pretty black and white about it. Like, if you owe someone money and you don't pay them, like, you're stealing their money. And in my book, that's never acceptable. And you can make up whatever excuses, or you couldn't pay, or you can't pay, or this happened, or this. But like, that's just not the way that it should be in the world of gambling. In the world of gambling, your word is extremely important. And my word's important to me, and it should be important to other people. And if they have debts and they don't pay them, which I don't know if Cantu did or not, because like, I don't know the specifics. But if you have debts and you don't pay them, you're stealing their money. That's a really scummy move. And it's just simple like that to me. You know, I don't have these people like tons of people I owe money. I don't think I owe anyone money, you know? So why do people just run up these balances everywhere and then, you know, not pay out? And look, like, I get it, like, don't loan people money, but sometimes, like, in the world of gambling, money has to change hands for whatever reason, like transfer from location to location, or you have a piece with somebody, or, you know, like, maybe you're at a game and, like, you know, they have money back at the room and they need a spot or whatever, or whatever. There's tons of reasons. Or maybe that they're crushing you and they want to win more from you. You know, there's a ton of reasons it can happen. But at the end of the day, we're all adults. You know, this isn't just like, this isn't make-believe. We're living in the real world where, like, gambling is our jobs, you know? And there's a certain level of understanding and self-awareness and responsibility that comes with that, to where, like, don't gamble for amounts you can't afford, because if you don't pay, you're a scumbag. So I know it's harsh, guys. I don't like to be that guy, but, like, when it comes to that subject specifically, I just don't have a lot of patience for people like that. Anyway, so all in all, back to some positives. We lost 16K. No, it's not really positive, but 2 more days here in Durant, Oklahoma. Gonna play at least on Sunday, but if not, I'll just be back tonight, I guess, when it comes out. I'll be back for, let me rephrase this. I will be back at least Sunday, and I might be back tonight on Poker Night TV. We're down 16K or 15.9K. If I get back to even, hopefully I can give away some money on Facebook, guys. Look, I'm trying to give you money, because if you get money, that means I got money too. So hopefully I can do it for everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in for today's vlog. I might have been long-winded. I don't know. If you guys like to hear me talk, let me know in the comments as well. I'm always cool just to, like, hit the record button and let you guys know what's up. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys, I guess, ASAP.